Thank you very much. You know, you just don't ever know what Bill's going to say. So I appreciate that very much. And I also learned the lesson today of not following Diana and Ahmad. My goodness gracious, we have such impressive students in Wayne County Public Schools. So I am really humbled and honored to be with you today. You know, I look out into this crowd and I see so many familiar faces and friends. And really, so many of you could give the talk that I'm going to give today. But first and foremost, I appreciate and applaud your dedication to our community and to our children and to our schools and to our business community. So thank you very much for what all of you do every single day. I would love to give you a round of applause for that. Thank you. So I want to start by sharing the vision statement for the Raleigh Chamber and telling you a little bit about what we do and why I felt like it was so important to be with you here today. So the Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce is the major catalyst and community consensus builder, creating a vibrant, diverse, and sustainable business climate that encourages job growth, workforce development, and economic prosperity, and affirms the Triangle as the country's best region for quality of life. So why does that all matter? At the Chamber, we focus on economic development. As Bill shared, before becoming the CEO, was the Executive Director of Wake County Economic Development, which is a program of the Raleigh Chamber. We have an initiative through the Wake County Economic Development Program called Work in the Triangle. And it's about talent, and it's about creating talent, and it's about not only recruiting and retaining talent in our market, but growing talent, which is what you all are doing every single day. I will share with you that to a company, so we have 40 active projects right now, and when I say a project is active, I mean that these are companies that we are actively in dialogue with on a daily basis, with the potential to create thousands of jobs and millions of dollars of investment in our community. The very first question they always ask us about is talent. The ability to hire talent today and the ability to have talent that they need in 10, 15, 20 years. We have to grow our own talent here to be successful and to be able to answer those questions effectively. I know that many of you probably heard about a little company called Amazon that's looking around. Their very first question is talent. They want to understand, can they find the talent that they need in our market? They're also asking questions about cost of doing business and culture and sites and buildings and all those other puzzle pieces. But the first question is talent. At the Chamber, we also focus on transportation needs. We focus on government affairs and public policy. We very often engage with you all with school bond referendums and things like that, helping to get the vote out for those important initiatives. We work with small businesses and entrepreneurs. So lest you think my job is very glamorous, I tell people I do everything from potholes to headquarters, and it's true. So we work with companies meeting their needs throughout the region, really, and helping them to address what they have going on. Now, Bill mentioned that I am a mother of 3. I understand the importance of educators. This is my crowd there. There's only 3 of them. There's just multiple pictures of several of them. My team helped me put this together. Many of you in the room know them. So Will is a junior at Broughton High School, Will Cole. He loves history, which was surprising to me, and environmental science, and he's an avid golfer and just has so much empathy. He's just a very empathetic 16-year-old, which I think is saying a lot for a 16-year-old. Sundon has carried a monkey wrench around in her back pocket since she was born. She's 14 years old. She is a dynamo. She has just made the JV cheerleading team at Broughton, but loves to sing and dance and had the great fortune of having teachers in the Wake County Public School System who recognized her special spark and really have helped facilitate and grow that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And little Anderson is my 9-year-old at Underwood. He's a 4th grader, and he's my chief advisor. I will share with you a quick story. So on Thursday, we had our annual meeting at the Chamber. And it was my first annual meeting as the new president and CEO of that organization. And I was a little nervous. And so as I pulled out of the Broughton parking lot after dropping Will and Sundon off, I said to Anderson, who was in the back seat, "Buddy, I'm telling myself I'm not nervous. I'm just hoping I believe myself." And he says, "Mom, here's what you gotta do." with me. He said, pretend you're not the CEO, and pretend that you're just doing a normal presentation, for 50 or 100 people. You do that all the time. You'll be fine. That's all you need to do. And I thought, that's some good advice. So before I was going on stage in front of 800 people for my first annual meeting, I had a little Anderson in the back of my mind. So, they are why I get up every day. And, what we do for our kids, what you all do for our kids, is so incredibly important. I mentioned pushing them to discover their spark, and then feeding that spark and developing those skills, both in the classroom and then outside of the classroom with the business leaders that help them identify and figure out what matters to them. Danny Yancey at Martin Middle School understood what Sunda needed early on and had made her feel very, very special, and helps her foster that in her. But you know what? As special as he makes her feel, he makes all of his students feel that way. And that's remarkable. So the trust culture and the talent pipeline. So we're all trusting each other to work together to help our children move forward and to facilitate that spark. I really consider the talent pipeline parents, teachers, professors, and the workforce. So that education in the classroom and outside of the classroom, it's why that partnership is so very important. So we have to address the skills gap, and I'm not going to share anything with you all today that we haven't already been talking about all morning. But what's interesting, and we've been working with Ted Abernathy, who I know you all are familiar with, in sort of further defining the skills gaps that we're addressing in this country. They're very often called soft skills. But in working with Ted, we're breaking them down into additional categories and bringing in some clarity. Looking at basic knowledge, life skills, work skills, job skills, and future skills. And how all of those categories are important for creating the workforce of the future, but not just the workforce of the future, meaningful careers for our students. So let's talk about basic knowledge. Basic knowledge, I sort of consider this the blocking and tackling of education. So it's a set of core competencies being taught in elementary, middle, and high schools in North Carolina around English, mathematics, science, and social studies. From the employer's perspective, this course of study would result in proficiency in basic reading, writing, and applied math that they've gained during the school years, and that are sort of the basics for the future and the basic skill requirements for those students. Life skills is the next category. So these are often considered as soft skills, but we wanted to break them down a little bit more. Those are things like motivation, responsibility, honesty, punctuality, personal accountability, flexibility and adaptability, and conflict resolution. So these commonly start in the family and in the community, but they can be reinforced through the educational curriculum throughout a young life. And I'll tell you a story. We do a lot of existing industry calls with companies in the market, and I was meeting with the site head for Pepsi Bottling Company, and he was struggling to find the talent that he needed. And he said, Adrienne, if they know the difference between a hammer and a wrench, but show up to work and have those solid communication skills, he said, I can teach them what they need to know, and they'll end up making $75,000 a year with full benefits with my company over time. He said, but I need them to have those basic life skills so that I know that they will be a good employee for my company. So work skills, these are also very often reviewed or considered soft skills, but they are viewed as personal traits and are generally transferable between jobs. So these are things, and you hear a lot about this, and I know you all are doing a lot of work in this because I hear from my children all the work that you all are doing in this area, around teamwork, problem solving, flexibility, perseverance, and communication skills. So these are really important in innovation, creativity, leadership, selling and negotiation abilities. I see them with my team every single day. The ability to be flexible, the ability to be responsive to opportunities, to not be thrown off, to be able to navigate through challenges and collaborate in an effective way. These are so important to students' success beyond just those job skills, which are more of those specific skills that you get if you're becoming a welder or a radiology technician, or a pastry chef. You're getting those very specific training for the task through technical colleges, four-year university, apprenticeship programs, and the like, those really important technical skills. But they're so much more successful as students, as we all know, if they also have those life skills and work skills. And then let's talk about future skills. So future skills are emerging as abilities that can add worth to the employee, especially in changing times. I tell you, the speed of business is just ramping up so quickly. Changes happen with technology, lightning speed, the culture of failing fast and moving on and being able to be adaptable in that, especially in a region like ours, which we'll talk more about, with a strong IT culture, a strong life sciences cluster, an emerging clean tech cluster, advanced manufacturing. The ability to apply these future skills, social intelligence, the ability to connect with others. It's why we have screen-free time at our house. It's why we practice handshaking and looking someone in the eye. It's why we practice some of those interactivity skills in our household. My kids go, "Oh, Mom." I'm like, "Do it." It is going to be so important for their future. Computational thinking, the ability to absorb and rapidly process data. And that's, for some of us, that's new, right? But it's so important. New media literacy, tweeting. Virtual collaboration, which, by the way, let's get this meeting trending. We can do that, so write tweet. Virtual collaboration, adaptive thinking, and mathematics. So many of these skills are gained during the school years, but then augmented as students continue lifelong learning. We're all continuing to learn, and that's not going to change. And so that adaptability is so important for meaningful careers in the future. So our focus is early business engagement is key. That work-based learning that all of you are about is so important. So again, I applaud you for the work that you do. Real opportunities in the workplace, I think, can be very eye-opening to students and can really put them on the path to their future, as we heard from Ahmad and Diana. From a jobs perspective, skills development is needed at the regional and state level, and we are certainly focused on that in Wake County, and I feel really privileged to work in this area because we have such a dedicated group of people focusing on these things. So let's talk a little bit about work in Wake County. So the regional journey to work here is throughout the region. This shows sort of the labor force flow in our region. You see how many people are coming in to our urban core. So 631,192 residents that live and work in the Triangle are traveling within the core of the Triangle. The average travel time is 24 minutes, most days. Every day, over 300,000 people commute into the urban core of the Triangle. So people are moving throughout. Our labor shed here is really a 15-county region. So this slide is interesting. It's a little busy, but these are workers commuting into Wake County. Wake County is the white dot in the center. The darkest green are where you've got 14,000 or more people commuting in. The next dark green is over 5,000 people commuting into Wake County. But then you see you have numbers on, the mountains and the coast and outside of the state. A lot of those folks are doing telecommuting, and I'll share some of the telecommuting numbers with you as well. But here are workers going out of Wake County. So you see we have a lot of people going into Durham and Orange and Mecklenburg counties from Wake County. That's no surprise. But it was surprising when we looked at this data to see how many people are going into halo counties around Wake County as well. And then the number of people telecommuting as well outside of Wake County into other counties in the state. So it goes to show that, our workforce is very, very fluid. And as we move more into the gig economy, project-based economy, that ability for flexibility and soft skills is just going to grow. So our population currently in the region is 2.4 million. We had a growth of 11.1% between 2012 and 2017. We have 11.8% between 2017 and 2022. So we're not slowing down. Our growth rate is accelerating. That's a population increase of 283,200 people. We're growing by about 67 people a day. About 21 or 22 of them were born here a day. That's a kindergarten class a day. A lot of little people. So Raleigh's population has doubled since 1990, and this statistic is just staggering. Wake County's population has increased by 132% since 1990. So occupations by industry, we are fortunate that we're not a one-trick pony in this community. We have strong industry clusters. I mentioned a few of them already. In software and IT, you see that that makes up 13% of our workforce. Life sciences is 11%, advanced manufacturing is in there at 10%, and then smart grid is only 3%, but it's growing rapidly. So those are companies like ABB, Schneider, Siemens, Trilliant is a new smart grid company that relocated their headquarters here from San Francisco. So a lot of activity in all of these industry sectors. We're the number 7 fastest growing large metro economy in the country, number 7 top hub for innovation, and number 4 city in the U.S. for fostering entrepreneurial growth. And we're seeing exponential growth in our entrepreneurship sectors with new funding coming in, which is really exciting. So we did a metro comparison study last year, benchmarking our community against 30 other metros across the country that we typically compete with, and looked at a lot of different data. We pulled out just a few pieces for you today. But I mentioned earlier the percentage of people working from home. You see ours is higher than Austin, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Atlanta, Georgia, Nashville, and San Francisco. It speaks to the strength of our IT sector here. We're the fastest growing IT sector in the country. We're the second fastest growing metro in the country, by the way, just to sort of put those things in perspective. Population change, we already touched a little bit on that, but between 2011 and 2016 was a 12% population change. Unemployment rate, Raleigh is at 3.8% now, North Carolina is at 4.7%, and the US is at 4.4%. We have a tightening labor market. That is good news for any student coming out looking for a job. And if they have those skills, they will find great employment in this area. So total employment growth rate again for Raleigh was 16.8% compared to 17.9% in Wake County, 9.4% in North Carolina, and 7.6% in the US. This map, I just put this up as an example to show you the strength of one of our industry clusters. This is our life science cluster in Wake County, and really goes a little bit beyond Wake County to look at Johnston and Durham. If we're being holistic, we're including those other counties as well. So this represents over 500 life science companies in our market. We have a very robust life science sector here. That includes clinical research organizations, medical device companies, biotech, pharma, many different elements within the cluster are here. And I want to share with you a quote from one of those life science companies, David Smith, who's the HR lead. In general, all of our hardest to fill jobs have a technology component that is not widely used or is just breaking out. We also find that these areas are tough because we require folks to have good project management capabilities and the ability to work cross-functionally in a matrix environment. Some have the technology expertise but have difficulty working on and leading these kinds of teams. So what does that speak directly to? Your 4 C's. It speaks to the importance of creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication. They're critically important, and it's so exciting that you all are focused on those things as school leaders and business leaders in our community. It's what's preparing our kids for a successful future. It addresses the trust culture and the talent pipeline between parents all the way through educators in the workforce. It helps ignite the spark for our kids and carry that through to a successful career. It helps with skill development that is diverse and ongoing. It strengthens the workforce in Wake County, and for that we are very appreciative. And it shows a strong partnership between our education community and the workforce. Thank you so much for welcoming today and for all that you do.